Hello, my name is Joseph Wilkins, and please accept this video as a way for me to introduce myself to you nice folks, uh, especially the young man, was it Mr.Reis? I hope I pronounced that right. Very impressive young man, very impressive. Got me here. And I also want to introduce myself to the fellow students at the Academy. One thing as you grow older and retire especially, in my case I have been a professional salesman all my life, timeshare mostly, but a lot more than that. And you go from a life populated with just hundreds of people to, you and the cat and your wife, and your brother comes over every now and then. So I kind of miss that interaction with other people. There's the old saying, hell is other people, but heaven's other people too. So I'm looking forward to interacting with you, and I believe we have a common denominator that would more or less make us compatible as far as personality and intent, because we're here trying to better our lives. In 72 years, I've learned a few things that I think you may find beneficial. I wish I had this advice when I was a younger person. So perhaps to the younger students, you will gain some currency from what I'm about to tell you. When I was born, I thought, wouldn't it have been great to have a owner's manual, like you do with your car. You get a birth certificate, here's your owner's manual. Well, that's basically happened. It's called neuroscience. I've been studying medicine for 25 years and politics. I made dozens of videos about medicine and politics, but that's not the subject I want to talk about today. Those have no bearing on whether we're successful or not. To be successful, in my mind, is to understand how the mind works. When I was younger, I swear it was more self-sabotaging stuff than I could imagine. I had no idea where it came from. Now I kind of have an idea. From the third trimester of gestation to the 7th year of life, if you were a recorder, the button record is on, nothing else. There ain't no lawyer at the table with you. Whatever you're told, you accept as gospel. And sometimes that's what it is, gospel. Unfortunately, these thoughts, these inputs into your subconscious mind still may be playing a part in the consciousness that you have today, but you're completely unaware of it. Well, how unfortunate would it be that something that's been sabotaging your life isn't your fault? It wasn't even from you. It was from some other person. There's a joke, the guy named his son Zero, because he didn't think he was going to amount to anything. Well, that's not too funny when it comes to being the guy you named Zero, because he'll believe it. The subconscious mind just takes that in. They also say by the age of 35, you're a done deal. You're a done deal. Whoa. And you see this in other people, don't you? Have you ever noticed anybody who's 35 and you met them when they're 50, they're completely different people? It's rare. And it's rare because it's the curse of the subconscious programming and control. I was fascinated when I started studying about 8 years ago about the psychodynamics of neuroscience and how things applied to me personally. Was I a positive person? Was I happy was I a happy person? Was I content? And I thought for the most part I was, but that was based on my conditioning not to expect or look for more than what I had experienced previously. There's an old saying, a young man came up to me and said, how could I tell my future? I said, well, Joe Dispenza would tell you create it. But how do you create it? What are the tools, That's why when I watch videos and they go, it's a moderate dose, a high dose, none of that means anything. What are the specifics? Okay, the specifics are that the conscious mind never rests. And the conscious mind, I believe, has every moment, every emotion, everything you've ever went through. And I do believe the past will cast a shadow over your presence and your future if you allow it. The subconscious mind is like swinging a pendulum. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're all the same, aren't they? Just all kind of blend in with not really being cognizant of what an exceptional experience this is. And I'm talking about living. We're on a dirt ball, and what the guy said, the universe was 156 trillion light years across. I think they came up with a new name for that, right? So, if instead of Joe on Earth, I am a sentient being in an infinite universe with perhaps many parallel universes. That's exciting. But what our society has somehow done is my fellow citizens don't seem excited about anything, about life. Matter of fact, I have seen a plague of desperation. What is it, 20% of all people are on some kind of crazy psychiatric drug, which are poison. You should know, if you got a mental problem, there's no cure for life, okay? You just have to work this out for yourself. Getting one of them chemical straitjackets is just that. It's a straitjacket, and it will prevent you from manifesting in your life what you really need to do because you're compromised by the chemical pollution in your brain. So to understand the power of the subconscious mind is that when you wake up in the morning, and if you start trying to be cognizant of this, you'll be surprised. It tries to load in a program. You get up thinking about problems, you got problems. You got problems now, you ain't even awake. Fear, anxiety, oh my God, right? That is the subconscious mind, and you know how I know that? Because I would bet dollars to donuts, whatever that means, that is not the way you want to act. That is not the way that you want to feel. Is it? No, of course not. Joe Dispenza, I like him. I read all his books, and some others like Bruce Lipton and whatever. Good authors. You all look them up. But he talks about that 70,000 thoughts might go through your head in one day. But you're only cognizant of a handful because the subconscious mind, and if I remember it right, can access and calculate 400 billion acts a second, or thoughts a second. It's some incredible thing. The mind is just unbelievable, basically based after the universe. But the conscious mind, like 400 million, something like that. But unfortunately, a lot of this background noise that you're not cognizant of is negative. You can't have it, you didn't have it, no one had it, you're not worthy, and these imprints in your mind, they may not even come from you, probably not. They might have been something that happened, from third trimester to the seventh year, but that social, geographical, educational, parental conditioning is powerful. It actually paints your reality. Read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, give you an idea. Once again, when you say, how can I know my future? You need to create it, but you create it with the understanding that if you want something that you ain't never had, hey, you got to do something that you've never done. Moreover, you got to become a different person than you are. You have to be what I'd call the greater self, the person that you really want to be, without the interference of subconscious static. Now, you have to understand that your brain's like a computer, for sure, garbage in, garbage out. If I were to get angry right now, the trillions of cells that make up Joe would be poisoned by adrenaline and cortisol and droxidine, all these things. I've studied medicine for 25 years and politics. I'm an ex-martial arts instructor. I've been in the Shaolin system of Wing Chun for 43 years and hold some records there, I'm glad to say. At 72, I feel pretty good. Matter of fact, I did a workout this morning that would have burned me down to 50. So if I'm talking to my contemporaries, get off the couch, get some barbells going, you'll feel better. So you say, okay, my mind is a computer, is it? Well, can I program it? Yes, you can. I've used Joe Dispenza's mantra, better, just as good as anything else. Think, act, feel. At the end of the day, I say to myself, is that the way I wanted to think? Is that the way I wanted to act and feel all day? I also have a mantra I've always used. In today's efforts, am I healthier, wealthier, or wiser? Now, if you just say yes to at least two of those, you might be wasting your time. But why would you waste your time? Because you're distracted, and you're distracted from the programming that you've had your whole life. I hate to say it, but I'm the product of an ill-spent youth. I lived in a rock and roll neighborhood in like hoodlum town on the East Coast. So there weren't many future senators on that road, right? But I could sense that there was like a conformity, you know? It's like in one neighborhood you had Hell's Angels and Gypsy Jokers and all those college graduates. But if you went up to another uptown where the mansions are, the nice homes, I didn't see many choppers in the driveway. It's these, like I said, that social, geographical, educational, parental conditioning is powerful. Let's say that you were born in the Middle East. Is there any, you know, there's got to be some doubt in your head whether you'd be wearing a towel on your head and riding a camel, right? It's powerful, powerful. So if you have been programmed to feel anxious or fear of the future, so never let regret of the past or fear of the future become thieves of the pleasure of the present nor the opportunity of the present. There's no past, there is no future. There's only now. Trust me on this. If you take care of here and now, you're Jake, which means if you're not over 70, you're doing fine, okay? Healthier, wealthier, or wiser. Now, when I retired some years ago, I worked side jobs, and I like getting out and talking to people, knocking doors, selling aerial photographs. But I never thought about getting a mansion. Now, here's where the subconscious comes in. About 3 years ago, I decided I wanted to buy a mansion. To be honest with you, I hate to say this, it never crossed my mind to buy a mansion. Yeah, I'm a good timeshare guy. I'm pulling down, sometimes 6 figures, but that ain't gonna buy no mansion. So I don't think about no mansion. And if I'm not thinking about no mansion, that means somewhere I'm denying that I can get it. Where'd that come from? And sure enough, the more I try to drill down and I wanted that mansion, here come the voices, like a schizophrenic experience. You? A mansion? No, you're not getting no mansion. You got that 2-story and you got the double garage and you'd be happy with that. Your dad didn't have a mansion. You weren't raised in a mansion. No one you know lives in a mansion. And if if you're not throwing a football, baseball, or singing a song at the Oscars, you might want to forget that shit. I thought, wow, where'd all that come from? Mansions are made, and they're made for me. Okay? So 3 years ago, I set out on trying to find a way to get this to happen. But here, as I went down the yellow brick road, I was going to say, I come encounter with things like when I get up in the morning, and this is 10 years ago, I try to be cognizant of the program that went in your head. And if you open your eyes, don't get right up, take an assessment of what are you thinking. Are you thinking about a problem? Are you thinking of something that was bothering you yesterday? Well, if that case is, you're living in the past, and also you're living into a negative environment. Nothing positive ever comes from a negative thought, right? Especially if they're ingrained in your subconscious before, like when you're 6 years old or some dang thing like that. You have to be cognizant of what affects you. what could prevent you from getting what you want? See, where you send your power, where you send your attention is where you send your power. So if you send your power to fear, oh, I can't do it, it's too difficult, and all these things, then it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Because the subconscious just wants you to do the same thing day after day until you drop dead. I don't buy into that. Moreover, the neuroscientists say that by the time you're 35, you done deal. By the time somebody reaches the age of 35, don't expect any large, big changes from them, because they're hypnotized by the past and by the subconscious programming. The past will throw a shadow right over your future and your present. I've told people in my class, say you get out of college and your girlfriend breaks your heart or something, and really your baggage is like a little handbag, right? You leave college, you've got the blues. But by the time you're 35 and been through 2 divorces and you're working on your 30-day sobriety chip from Alcoholics Anonymous, man, you got suitcases, right? And each day you're hauling these things around. You'll notice people who suffer from this because they talk about negative things that have happened to them in the past instead of positive things they wish for themselves in the future. Where's the currency in that, right? I've had some bad things happen to me, but I've also had some great things. Found a great woman to marry, been married 42 years, never raised my hand or my voice to her. Matter of fact, for you get to know me a little better, in my whole life, I've never hurt no dog, no cat, no woman, no old person, no child. I've had my wars with some men, that's for sure. But that's what we do, right? Guys battle each other. So you say to yourself, what is the key then? Okay, the key is being cognizant of here and now. Here and now, everything is available to you. There is no future, there's no past. Forget that concept, right? You take care of here and now with the proper elevated emotion. If you think you're going to analytically be a success analytically, I don't think so, right? If you work for John Hopkins, that might work, but with the internet business, you have to believe, like almost an obsession, that what you want is already there. I know you're probably calling the white coats already, but make beautiful memories of the future, right? I visualize the home, the mansion that I want, and have so for the last 3 years. I am closer now to it because I have now, and I admit, the paralysis of analysis, I have been a victim of that for a while. But I finally come to the conclusion that after all my investigation, this young man, Mr.Reis, hope I'm pronouncing that right, impressive young guy, all full of energy and youth, and I like him, I like his style. But I want, Philippe, if you're listening to this, I don't have the hubris that many people my age have. And that is, he's a young person, I ain't gonna learn nothing from no young person, right? Well, that might be true when it comes to life experience, your understanding of medicine and the depth of politics, I might have you on that. But when it comes to what you're doing, young man, I'm ignorant. I put up an SD store, but come on, I'm just horsing around, right? But now, I'm in a position where everything I'm suggesting that you do, I have to do myself. Am I a master at these things? No. Am I cognizant of them and the importance of them and work every day to put these in action in my life? You bet. I mentioned I was married. She's 64, I'm 72. Her mother and father, her father passed away at 94, and her mother is still alive at 98. So at 64, she may have some years to go. Now, if I was a single guy, I'd be in Florida sucking liquor out of a coconut running timeshare tours just for the heck of it. My social security, all that covers that. But I enjoy being around people. And a timeshare track is like a gambling casino, buddy. You got that juice in there. So when you're looking, if you want to achieve something that you've never achieved, or if you want something that you never had, well, guess what, Bucky? You got to do something you've never done. In this case, I need to learn what Philippe is trying to teach us. Now, I for whatever reason, and I don't trust many people, I don't know, I just like the guy, trust him and hope for the best. But at least I'm going down the road now in a very earnest manner to learn what I need to learn to achieve my intention. What is my intention? Save my wife suffering. To protect my wife, I would lay down my life. Before I would hurt my wife, I'd shoot myself. All right? She is the most important thing to me, period. So if I got to do beaches and liquor out of a coconut aside, I have to get enough money together that if I were, to pass away, which I will one day, I want her financially stable, and I won't have to worry about her having any problem. And boy, that's a motivation. I've never been so motivated to do anything in my whole life, because I've always been money motivated before. Money compared to the welfare of my wife, not even in the same league. But let's get back to this. If you see your mind as something that you need to control, you're right. The mind, it's very chaotic, right? You go from sexual thoughts to religious thoughts, and just boom, boom, boom. Sometimes when I was younger, before I did a little meditation, thoughts would roll around in my head like dice in a cup. You have, what's the saying? A person who learns to control the mind will find the greatest ally, the greatest friend they have ever known. Do it not, and you'll find the enemy of your nightmares. And they're talking about a subconscious mind running you a certain way day after day, year after year, and you're just moving along, man, and you're not stopping to do any assessment of the environment. You have to think bigger than your environment. That's why I visualize the mansion I want. Got red doors, it's got black, dragons by the doors and all that, got a nice workout room. I believe that the photo-generated thought patterns are coming out of my mind, and they now have a device that can read your thoughts and what was mental energy from like 3 feet away from your head. So it does go out, but does it go into the quantum field and have any quantum effect? I'm curious about that, because I realize that I base my sense of reality on my 5 senses. Well, that can't be too good, can it? And the reason I say that, because visible light is the only thing you and I use to kind of feel our reality out. What we hear, smell, touch, all that. But I also realize that this narrow band that I live in is not the only reality. There's gamma wave, X-ray, all these neutrinos and all these things. If I could see them, I'd be blind. I'd be tripping on a sheet of LSD or something. The point I'm trying to make is that if you want to take control of your life, you have to be realistic with yourself and say, am I being childish? And back to think, act, feel. Did I present my best self today? Did I have confidence and enthusiasm? Because understand something, like I said, I suffer from the paralysis of analysis. And now I'm really, in the last couple of years, incorporating an elevated emotion, because being emotional can be very good at sometimes. Sometimes when I'm visualizing the place my wife and I are going to go to, it's just incredible. Great feeling. It's like I won the lottery. And I feel that now that's real for me. It's like the universe. I'm telling the universe, hey, here, Joe wants a mansion, and Joe gonna go get one. Because if I don't have to work to set my wife up for 30 years, we might as well live in a good place, right? I have come close to death on more than one occasion. I'll save you the gruesome details. But about a year ago, I wrote a list of people that I've known and worked with, friends of mine, who are no longer with us. 59 names. Think about it. 59 names of people, not my family members. I didn't include them. I know one thing about them. They would give anything and everything to be standing here next to me today. But they're not. They're dead. Part of controlling your life is getting the perception of where you're at and what you're doing. Master Chin, very smart guy. How do you put it? If mankind was 100,000 years, and we know it's more than that. Let's get a little warm. Yeah, that feels better. He said at the theater of your life, say it was 100,000 years. And if you're lucky, let's say you get 100. 100,000 years, 100 years. Most people get about 80. But if you're like this, it doesn't, get into your perceptions. You look left and right, man. How long are we really here? I was born in 1952. I was 40 years away. If I'd born 40 years earlier, I'd be riding a horse. Okay. When you're younger, you spend your days like juju beans. You got years and decades ahead of you. But I'll tell you, when you get your 70s, 80s, and 90s, that's a reality. When I drive by the graveyard, most times what I see are people standing on their own grave, pointing at their head, looking at me, going, wake up. You be a beggar or you be a king, I tell you, buddy, the garden of stone is at your end. When you look at death, it will put a precise point on what I'm trying to say. I mean, most of us don't do it. When's the last time you contemplated what you look like in a body bag? Or, what you'd feel like if you was laying in a coffin? Who does that? But maybe you should, because then one day the days run out. I'm a pretty fit guy. I don't, I work out every day of my life. I have so for decades, and take care of myself. But am I going to live to 150? No. 140, 130, 120, 110. I'm looking to try to make 100. A lot of people have done it, so that means I can do it too. But still, in 8 years, I'll be 80 years old. Huh? You think I'm going to waste a day on any kind of superfluous bullshit? No. I want at least the last years of my life to be exciting and to be engaged in my time. I come from the 50s. Philippe, he does not come from the 50s. So like I said, I don't have the old man hubris that I can't learn from a young man. I'm here because I want to learn from him. Right? I'm going to look at him like the burning bush, and I'm going to duplicate everything he tells me to do. Because if there's 5 people that have been successful with what this young man is doing, I'm going to be one of them. All I got to know is one person or 5 people have listened to him, and it was profitable for them to do so. I'm convinced of a few things already, and I don't know him. I like him. I like his style. I like his energy. The youth, the youth of energy of youth. But I don't think he's a liar. I don't get that from him. Of course, I've always said to people, if you're making $20,000 a month, you could waterboard them people, and they ain't going to tell you what they're doing. So if you're making all that money, why are you telling me about it? Well, maybe give me that information is profitable for you and be profitable for me. In that case, I've got no problem. So to control your mind is not an easy thing. And if you don't have time to go off to Tibet and sit with your rice bowl, in the lotus position for 30 years, is to be here now. It's always disappointing to finally realize that you must give up your expectations rather than build on a bias of preconceptions, for they are truly illusions of desire with no pragmatic validity in reality. Here and now is the only natural state of being. If a dog could talk, he would never say, "What did you say?" Because he's here and now, right there. Fear of the future and regret of the past are the thieves of the pleasure and opportunities of the present. If you're thinking about the past, you're living in the past. You have to be defined by the future. You need to be defined by these beautiful memories of the future that you are visualizing in your head. Then they become real. Then they become tangible. But you have to have, what I was trying to find a better term, a strong emotion, an elevated emotion, of excitement, of passion. I went through an analytical stage where I thought, really emotion was, a secondhand dealer. But now I realize if you want to be successful in life, you got to be passionate for you. Forget about internet businesses. You get up in the morning and you need to be happy with yourself. You need to look forward to the next day. You got to look forward to what you're doing today. You do that, and I believe you'll find a great improvement on your perception. If you're alive and pain-free and not hungry and got a roof over your head, man, you basically got the launch pad there to do what you want. The only thing that could hold you back is the conformity to the dictates of the subconscious mind programming that runs you every day. So if it's true that 90% of what you think yesterday you thought today, well, good luck. Because if you don't think what you're thinking, if you don't change what you're thinking, it will not change your behavior. If you do not change your behavior, what's going to happen? Nothing. The same thing, worry, anxious. But if you got up in the morning and you said, "Okay, what you got for me today? What's the universe got for Joe today? I want to think, act, and feel. I want to be wiser, healthier. Healthier, wealthier, and wiser. I want to have currency out of my day. I want something in it. I want to invest in myself. I want to be happy. I want to be content. I want to be enthusiastic. I want to look forward to my future," right? Even when you think about thinking that way, and if you did, when I said that, did you feel a little better? Did you kind of feel like that boost there? Yeah. Because when you're a kid, you don't have all that baggage. And that's why you go out and find a praying mantis somewhere and just fascinated with the damn thing. Master Ong used to say, when you're 6 years old, you walk into a door and you start laughing. When you're 36, you need 5 drinks and a professional comedian. This society is hideous in that respect. Violence, violence, violence. Everything is a damn gun, right? The violence we see in the world pollutes the general consciousness. And you may be feeling these vibes coming from all over and actually mistaken that that's something in your head. But we live in a time of madness, a real madness. It is more important today than ever to take the blinders off. I know what it was. Master Ong said no one has ever lived on this planet opened up the door in the morning and said, "Boy, what a bunch of well-adjusted, intelligent, compassionate people these are." No. Matter of fact, 2,000 years ago, Brutus went home for lunch, and his wife, Athena, said, "Hey, Brutus, you look like you got a stool sample in your pocket. What's the problem?" He said, "That damn Caligula. He announced today in the Senate that he is now understanding what road bumps he were having because he didn't realize that he was God and he is the divinity And now things are going to look up for people in Rome. And he's this close from making his horse emperor. So, if you if you're on this planet and you ever expect your general human being to have any kind of mind or intelligence, forget it. Yes, you have to be cognizant, but you can't let this obsession. This is something I've seen as crazy. I've known people for 10, 20 years, never talked about politics, and all of a sudden now they're like some podcaster or something. Oh, did you see what happened in the oversight committee when this guy and that guy go? Whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but do you do anything else in your life now than other than worry about the theater of your life? Because the day you die, it ain't going to change, right? You're cognizant of your surroundings, for you can do proper prophylactic actions to protect you and your family, but you have to still be excited you're alive. You cannot let these idiots, these morons, these fascist, crazy ass people draw the energy from you. Quit watching this horror that you can do nothing about. The best protection in this life is caution. And nothing buys caution better than money. If we were headed to an unknown future which may be dark, trust me, those who have money will be able to protect themselves a great deal more than the average person, which may be chewed up in the jaws of that type of situation. Some dystopian reality. So if you can recapture, and there have been times in my life I wasn't happy. No, I wasn't happy. Had social graces of a caged animal. But I'm the exception to the rule. I am not even near the man I was at 35. I ain't even close. I'm a completely different creature. Okay. That is because nearly at least 25 years, every day I try to improve who I am based on the information I have. So for information to become transformation, you have to internalize it, add the emotion that, yeah, this can help me, and then it will. Reality, what is it, Dispenza says, think, act, feel. He said, that's your personality. Your personality is your architect for your reality and your future. It is a challenge. It's much easier to drink beer and watch the ball game. True. But since I got into meditation and the martial arts 43 years ago, I understood that the art of living is just that. It's an art. You just can't slapdash it and be successful. You can't run on automatic conditioning from the subconscious and base everything on cognitive dissonance, which means you will not accept any information that is not in your present belief system or your past experience. That's a huge hindrance to your success. I have found that the more I learn, the less I know. It is really a paradoxical thing. Like medicine. I learn something new about medicine every single day. And perhaps I'll link up some of my medical videos to this one. So we are here now at this time with Philippe, and together, perhaps as a group with a single goal. The Rosicrucians used to have every month, we'd all get together and send good vibes to some world leader, believing that the cosmic battery reaction of people was like intent. That's why I'm here. I'm making the effort to make this video because I really want to interact with you folks. I want to be part of this new technology, and I'm pretty professional in medicine, so I think I got the noodle to put this together, especially with some young man like that going click here, click there, click that. I mean, come on. If you see learning a skill set as difficult, it will be difficult. Have you ever loved a crazy woman? Okay. You didn't mind she's crazy, you loved her. This same thing. If you, oh man, I gotta learn, this or learn that, and it's like you're being drugged to the gallows, well, you ain't gonna have no fun and you ain't gonna be successful because you'll quit the moment there's any blip in the road. Oh, that damn software don't work, so I'm gonna go out and, I don't know what. You have to be emotional and a machine at the same time. Now, here's a paradox. I mean, here's a dichotomy that's odd. I used to have emotions and juices for things that I look back and I'm embarrassed. I started out on Windows 98. What a piece of poop that was. And when I couldn't get it to work, I'd get frustrated. I actually had chemicals for this thing. And I'd fire out, flame emails to Microsoft engineers that, what kind of crap did you sell me and all this, right? But then I was younger, man. That was a long time. 98 for me, that was wild. And then I got to thinking, what good does that do me? What good does that do me? Matter of fact, I bet you when I get irritated and aggravated and all that, it shuts down my frontal lobe. Now I'm trying to use my monkey brain to run a computer. A lot of luck. Okay. If I could ever share something with you, you should take to heart. What you think affects every cell in your body. The neuroscience, I'm trying to think, there's a name for it. I'll think of it in a minute. But like I said, if I got angry, I would poison every cell in my body. If you think a negative thought, it has a negative biological and physiological effect on your body. That's why 30% of the amelioration when it comes to medical intervention is due to a positive thought or a positive outlook the patient has. It's like life itself. If you expect something negative, it will come to you. What you fear, by your very attention to it, will bring it to you. I believe this. Okay? We're here. What is it? Reality is illusion, but Einstein said, yeah, it is, but albeit a persistent one. Don't forget the magic of this world. Don't let this society, this culture, rob you of the absolute joy of life. We live in a paradise that's getting worse by day, and I tell you, I'm glad I'm 72, the way things are looking, right? Because I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I don't know if I told you, but I was born at the best time to the best people in recorded human history. How could I not be a happy guy, right? I sold time sharing, and I was a sales manager and a TO and a sales trainer for a long, long time. And I used to call it need, greed, fear, loss, and that's what you would work on with your people that were taking the timeshare tour. But here we are, 2024, AI is here. I now have skills that I didn't earn or learn. I was out playing around with Mid-Journey, and I was making all these killer, images. I have no graphic arts experience. How cool, right? How cool is that? I'm writing a book called Day One, and I'm gonna let GPT chat help me with my grammar and all that. So that, it's just exciting. See, maybe not so much for y'all. I remember as a child going to grade school and I bought something at was Isley's. The lady literally pushed down keys and flags came up in the cash register. Imagine how you feel if you were my age. And now what? We've got Sophia, AI robot, is actually a recognized citizen of Dubai. Nothing better than having a goal. Nothing better than being involved in adventure. Basically, there's a lot of different people, but there's two huge groups that I know of. One sees life as a problem, sets out to solve it. The other one says life is an adventure, set out to live it. I have a sign over here that says life is a journey, enjoy it. I had a teacup that once said, don't let reality spoil your day. If you focus your attention like a laser beam, you will be amazed at what you can accomplish. I tell people that I worked out 581 days straight. They don't believe you. They don't believe me. I don't care if they do or not. But if it's outside their experience, they gotta deny it. Right? Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Happy to meet you folks. And I do hope that we will interact with one another and be beneficial in each other's success. But invest in yourself. I hate to say check up with the neck up. That sounds too ridiculous. Understand the power that you have. I'm 72. I don't know what 72 is supposed to feel like, because I feel good. I mean, I work out every day hard, and I'm happy, and I'm contented, and I'm looking forward to my future. Can you say the same? I'm glad that this technology even exists. 50 years of my life, it didn't. This is just like showed up from Star Trek or some damn thing. I'm happy that technology exists to allow me to do something that otherwise would be impossible. What am I going to do at 72 without a computer? Go sell time sharing? Hell, even if I'm the general manager, $120,000 a year, you're going to eat up half of that. You know, that ain't going to put my wife where I want her to be. Don't take this for granted. From my perspective, from the 50s, don't take this for granted. And understand one thing, go slow. There's no hurry, okay? And the accumulative effect of time. Now, I'm going to work from noon to 5, because I have other things I need to do, you know. But noon to 5, Monday through Friday, I'm going to do what Philippe's telling me to do. That's 100 hours a month. It's just like this workout. I have an exercise called an arm grab. And what it's supposed to do is teach you, when you come out, you grab someone's shirt, you know, and I do it 100 times, whether I'm lifting weights or doing a martial art. I do it 100 times to warm up my arms. For decades, I never thought about adding up those numbers. I did 6 months ago. 100 a day is 700 a week, is 2,800 a month, 28,000 times in 10 months. Well, like 33,000 times. I couldn't believe it. I even got the calculator out. Well, let's figure it out. I mean, to the point. I was blown away. 100 times. Okay. My battery's dead. Something wrong with it. But the point is, just like I told a young person the other day, in their 20s, I said, why don't you become an attorney? And she goes, oh boy. I said, now see, the idea of attorney just stopped you. If you studied, and I don't know if they changed the law, but I'm making a point here. If you pass the bar, you're an attorney. Say that you're 20 years old and you only study 2 hours a night, and 10 years later you get your degree. 10 years. Yeah, I mean, you just like walk through it. But you're an attorney and you're 33 or something. Put in the time, but be happy to do so. Look forward to it, as it will bring you everything that you want. Leave the doubt, the fear, your past experience, and all of that alone. Let it get into the groove. Get here and now. Here and now, none of that means anything. The only thing it means in here and now is learn, and be happy to learn, and don't be in a hurry to learn. You know, just like I plan on watching his videos over and over until I could tell you what he's going to say before he says it. I'm in no hurry to succeed, because I know I'm going to. If you don't believe that you can be successful, you never will be. Live in the future. Visualize what you really want and why you want it. I made this video in the hopes that something I've said may be helpful to you. Maybe my 72 years on this planet will pay off for someone other than myself. But I just wanted to introduce myself to you. My name is Joe Wilkins. And I look forward to interacting with you folks, and I look forward to learning what this young man's got to teach me. Because I'm sure he's making more money than I am right now. But that's a good thing. I'm glad he is. But don't, like I said, don't take the technology for granted, and don't take guys like Mr.Reis for granted. I don't. Well, like I said, glad to be here. Glad to see you. Comment on, comment if you'd like. And outside of that, best of luck to you. And just remember, my friends, you're only as happy as you will allow yourself to be. Something like that.